Welcome to Murcia in Spain for our new magazine, Europe Now. Each month I'll travel to one of the 27 EU member states to see the consequences of Europe's debt crisis. I'll meet ordinary people, I'll talk to business leaders and officials to hear their view on the current crisis. And let's start here in Spain.
The country that produced Don Quixote is now home to 46 million Spaniards and 250,000 bulls. The windmills the foolish knight once fought are making way for high-tech turbines, 19,000 of them in total. Spain's debt now stands at 688 billion euros, or a still acceptable 77% of GDP, but the situation becomes unbearable when the rate of borrowing soars. Mariano Rajoy's centre-right government took office in December 2011 with the pledge to halve the deficit of 9% in just 2 years. In order to cure the nation's economic ills, Spain had to swallow a bitter pill of austerity. And Rajoy refused to ask for a bailout or any other intrusive rescue plan. Unemployment is at crippling levels. 1 in 4 Spaniards is unemployed. That figure rises to 50% for the under-25s. 3 years after the start of the crisis, what's the mood in Spain? Europe Now went to hear what Spaniards have to say.
In December, they suddenly took 1 month's salary from us.
In my region, unemployment is at 40%. It's unbearable.
We'd like to inform Spanish citizens that the end of the world planned for December 21st is postponed due to budget cuts. Signed, the Government of Spain.
Let's meet our first guest in the program. Cristina Gutierrez Cortines is a Spanish member of the European Parliament from the Conservative European People's Party. Cristina, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
At home, you belong to the popular party of Mariano Rajoy, the current Prime Minister. Before we talk about the crisis, let's remember that Spain is also about beautiful cathedrals like this one in the center of Murcia.
Yeah. Like in Europe, many cities, they grew around the cathedral, and what is marvelous that they continue to be the center of the city, the center of the life. It's a very active region with a good agriculture. We export to all over Europe and to all the world, and at the same time we have art and history. And I think that this is one thing that we need to look in the future.
2012 was a terrible year for Spain. Unemployment stands at 25%, youth unemployment 50%. What do you do now?
First, finishing with the bad practices. We need to finish with speculation. We need to finish about spending more than we earn. So we need to have a financial clear policy. Second, we need to support better education, more innovation, and at the same time to increase the capacity of credit. We have a youth well prepared, qualified, but they need a minimum credit and less bureaucracy.
But as Spain enters another year of recession, even more austerity, isn't this going to kill your economy?
It's a problem of balance. I understand that we need to increase the consuming. The shops need to sell something. We need to dynamize the market. That's true. But at the same time, we are exporting more, and that money come to Spain. We increased 10% our capacity of export in this year in Spain.
Cristina, I'd like to watch our first report about family solidarity here in Spain. As you will see, picking up children from the school or providing a roof to unemployed children, grannies and granddads have really emerged as a pillar of strength here in Spain. This is a report from our correspondent, Valérie Labonne.
A school run with a difference. Rosa Rodriguez has made this trip every day for the past 3 years. But it's her grandchildren she's collecting from their school in the Madrid suburbs. It's a journey she makes several times a day to help out one of her 4 children.
Since my daughter's marriage broke up, she has nothing. We had to take her in for a while, feed her, and financially support her. Things are like that now. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm getting on in years, and I'm starting to feel it, especially after raising 4 children.
The Spanish Health Ministry says that half of all the country's grandparents are now looking after their grandchildren daily. Like Rosa, they've become an essential moral and financial support since the economic crisis hit their children. With her son out of work, one daughter sick, and another who needs her help with childcare, there's little rest for Rosa.
I have no time for myself, for my life, no time to come and go as I'd like to. I have to be available for them, for whatever they ask for, and my needs come afterwards.
From a modest background, Rosa never imagined that after so many years of hard work, her retirement would prove to be anything but peaceful.
I raised 4 children. We weren't wealthy, but we were happy. Today I wish so much they weren't in such situations, that they weren't unemployed. It makes me so sorry for them and for young people in general. They're having such a bad time.
Rosa's tough schedule is taking its toll on the 68-year-old. Several months ago, exhausted, she had the first warning signs of a heart problem. She says it's her love for her grandchildren that keeps her going.
She prepares such good snacks.
Her secret is love.
As night falls on Madrid, Pilar plays football with her grandson Mario. This devoted grandmother is also a member of the Yayo Flotas, a group of pensioners who support the country's young anti-austerity protesters.
We lived under a dictatorship, so we know what it is to fight for democracy. We've already fought once for a better life. We don't want to relive that. We don't want to go back 30 years, but this government is dragging us back there.
Pilar comes from a large family where only the boys were educated, so she did everything to ensure her children got a qualification. Young Spaniards today are more qualified than ever, and yet more than half of them are out of work.
I made sacrifices so that my children would be able to earn a living. They've done lots of things. They have master's degrees, and it means nothing now. They earn tiny salaries when they even have a salary. They earn 1,000 a month.
That's the situation with Pilar's son Miguel, who's a travel agent, and his wife Virginia, who works in a laboratory. The birth of their son Mario and soaring costs and taxes forced them to apply a strict household budget. Miguel says he's very pessimistic about Spain's future.
We could end up losing a whole generation of people. Young people have done everything right, but the state has no work to offer them so they can use their qualifications. The youth is very frustrated and disappointed.
Many pensioners are now trapped in a cycle of providing free childcare in a state where it's either too expensive or not available, a state where young people can no longer look forward to a better life than their parents.
Our report there on family solidarity in Spain. Christina, one of the ways to tackle youth unemployment is to boost research. You've taken us to a company that produces high-tech programs for tablets and smartphones. You believe that this is the future?
This is the only future. The only way to cope with a society that has less money is to go to the intelligence. In the future, our competitiveness depends on the innovation. And that's very interesting because there are young people who are working with very few money, but in a smart society.
And one of the applications developed at Droiders here is called augmented reality. I had never seen this before, 3D images.
Yeah. That's extraordinary. It's very useful. Look, it's very useful for the enterprises, for the education, for many things. And at the same time, it's something good to be happy, to be amused. Now people spend a lot of time looking the world, they can travel through the world.
And you can walk around the Eiffel Tower in Murcia.
Yes, completely. I like this.
I have been 5 times in Silicon Valley, and the access to the money, to the capital to build new ideas, new projects is very easy. Here, it's very hard. It's very hard. In the financial crisis, the banks don't understand you. They only understand about the mortgages, but not about technology.
Austerity means cuts in research and innovation. Aren't we shooting ourselves in the foot?
The research needs more money, I accept. In Spain, we cut the budget for innovation, but Europe at the same time, in the 2004-2020, the main issue is to the subsidies will go to the innovation, not to roads, not to big hotels.
And after smartphone applications, you will take us to a more traditional place where they make
jamones. I suggest you to come here because this is a really very modern enterprise. It's a family enterprise that they have the owners working here, all the family, but at the same time professional researchers. So they are really modern and innovative.
Mi padre, mi madre, mi hermano, mi hermana y yo. Trabajando unas
3,600 people work here, and we process 10,000 pigs a day.
I think that agriculture and the food industry are the best. We have increased our export, and the agriculture has been the cushion to avoid more crises. They work with the money that they have, no speculation.
The current government believes in German-style reforms, internal devaluation. Is that the way forward?
I think that the internal devaluation is already on the ground. But in Spain, the people who work as civil servants, they earn more than the people who work in the industry, in the private industry. That's something that needs to be said. I believe that some of the measures that Europe is imposing to the people are right, because we cannot go with a model that at the States is the grandfather, the father, and the husband that do everything. A lot of people are suffering, but we cannot support such a big administration as we have until now.
But then what do you do with all these people who've lost their jobs?
We can have not one measure, we need a lot of measures, through education, through quality, through the spirit of risk, to love risks, to open their own enterprises, to work in a different way that they did.
And there are, of course, other examples of economic success in Spain. We'll travel to the Basque country, to Mondragon, to visit the world's largest worker cooperative. It's a network of 250 companies directly owned and run by their workers. So yes, maybe there is an alternative to capitalism.
Mondragon in Spain's Basque region, population 22,000. In the 50s, a priest decided to rescue the region's sputtering economy by creating a cooperative where all the workers were shareholders. The model worked. Today, Mondragon Cooperative Corporation is the world's biggest, with 83,000 employees in sectors as varied as finance, agriculture and electrical goods.
Sur les 400 personnes qui travaillent ici, il y a 90% de socios.
Out of 400 people who work here, 90% are cooperative shareholders. It's so different when everyone's involved. Like everyone wants to work towards the future, in the medium and long term. When employees are also shareholders, they want their business to be passed on to their children in better condition than when they took it on.
Every employee who holds shares has a vote. Every important decision is taken collectively. And in these times of belt-tightening, co-op workers share the losses as well as the gains.
One of the most important decisions we took recently was to reconsider our sales forecast. And seeing as the economic situation is so tough at the moment, we also voted in salary cuts. It's a decision that all the co-op workers took together.
Another co-op principle, to retain staff in the corporation. Instead of being made redundant, workers are transferred between cooperatives as needed.
The corporation uses the co-op workers instead of subcontractors, which adds costs. This lets us survive the crisis better than a business that's only goal is to pay back a shareholder. Here, the shareholder works and is paid back through the work he or she does. It's a fundamental difference. If there's less work, everyone feels the effect.
The corporation's management play their part. Their salaries are capped at 6 times the lowest salary, and they're looking for new strategies to weather the economic crisis.
Above all, we don't move our production. Outsourcing is relocating industrial activity to another country, destroying the jobs in the original country. We're trying to open factories in emerging economies, And we're starting to increase sales there and complement the production here. We think it's important to have a presence outside Spain in order to succeed on the inside.
But not everybody paints Mondragon's foreign forays in such a positive light.
When Mondragon buys other companies in other countries, like when Fagor bought a brand in France, they do not apply the same cooperative system abroad. Okay, so when Mondragon reached its maximum potential in 2008, it had 100,000 employees, and only 30,000 of them were cooperative members. And when crisis comes, obviously, the first people to be fired are people that are not cooperative members.
Criticism that doesn't put many off, the corporation's university is packed with would-be co-op workers of the future.
And that's already the end of the first part of Europe Now from Spain. But join me again after the news break as I travel to Barcelona.